Weekly Astrology Update. Welcome to your weekly astrology update for the week of June 15th to June 22nd, 2026. This week begins with a powerful new moon in Gemini and unfolds through themes of emotional growth, self-discovery, relationship transformation, and important realizations. As the week progresses, the energy shifts from thinking to feeling, from possibility to action, and from questioning your path to understanding where you're truly headed. After each astrological influence, you'll find reflection questions to help you consciously work with these energies. Number 1. New Moon in Gemini. A new beginning begins with a new thought. The week opens with a new moon in Gemini. New moons represent fresh starts, new intentions, and new possibilities. Gemini governs communication, ideas, learning, conversations, and perspective. Have you ever noticed how one conversation can completely change the way you see your life? Not because it solved all your problems, but because it helped you see a possibility that you hadn't seen before. Perhaps you've been thinking about making a change for a while, starting a project, learning something new, having an important conversation, or finally pursuing an idea that keeps returning to your mind. Yet every time the opportunity appears, you tell yourself, maybe later, maybe next month, maybe when the timing is better. This new moon in Gemini reminds us that every new chapter begins with a new thought, and every future first exists as an idea. This new moon in Gemini brings your thoughts, ideas, and future possibilities into focus. Let's explore how this new moon may be inviting you to reflect on the following questions. What new chapter am I ready to begin? What thought pattern am I ready to leave behind? What conversation could change the direction of my life? What possibility have I not allowed myself to consider? What intention do I want to set for the coming month? Number 2. The Sun enters Cancer. From thinking to feeling. As the week unfolds, the Sun leaves Gemini and enters Cancer. This shift encourages us to move from the mind into the heart. Cancer governs emotions, home, family, belonging, and emotional security. Have you ever spent so much time trying to figure something out that you forgot to ask yourself how you actually feel? Sometimes we search for answers everywhere except within ourselves. We ask for advice. We make lists. We analyze every possible outcome. Yet deep down, we already know what our heart is trying to tell us. As the Sun enters Cancer, your emotional needs may become impossible to ignore. This energy invites us to slow down and reconnect with what truly matters. Let's explore how this shift may be inviting you to reflect on the following questions. What do I truly need to feel emotionally safe? Where am I ignoring my feelings? What feels like home to me? Who helps me feel seen and supported? What part of my emotional world needs more attention? Number 3. Jupiter in Cancer. Growth through emotional security. Jupiter represents expansion, opportunity, wisdom, and growth. Cancer represents emotional connection, nurturing, family, and belonging. Together, these energies remind us that real growth often begins with emotional security. Perhaps you've been focusing so much on productivity, success, or responsibilities that you've forgotten something important. Growth isn't only about achieving more. Sometimes growth is learning how to feel safe enough to be yourself. Maybe you've been taking care of everyone around you, showing up whenever people need you, being strong for others, yet neglecting your own emotional needs in the process. Jupiter in Cancer reminds us that abundance becomes sustainable when it is rooted in emotional well-being. Let's explore how this energy may be inviting you to reflect on the following questions. What makes me feel emotionally secure? Where am I seeking external validation instead of inner stability? What foundation am I currently building for my future? How can I nurture myself more effectively? What does abundance truly mean to me? Number 4. Venus opposite Pluto. Emotional truths and relationship transformation. Venus represents love, relationships, self-worth, attraction, and values. Pluto represents transformation, power, emotional depth, and release. When these two energies oppose each other, hidden emotions often rise to the surface. Relationships may reveal deeper truths. Power dynamics become more visible. Situations that have been tolerated for too long may no longer feel sustainable. Have you ever felt a connection that you simply couldn't ignore, no matter how hard you tried? Maybe there's someone you keep thinking about. Maybe you're holding on to a relationship, situation, or expectation that no longer feels aligned. Or perhaps you've been avoiding a truth because facing it would require a difficult decision. Venus opposite Pluto asks us to choose authenticity over comfort, because sometimes the thing we're afraid to face is exactly what will set us free. Let's explore how this Venus opposite Pluto alignment may be inviting you to reflect on the following questions. What emotional truth am I avoiding? Where am I giving away my power? What relationship is teaching me something important right now? What am I afraid to release? What would happen if I trusted myself completely? Number 5, Mercury conjunct Jupiter. One conversation can change everything. As the week comes to a close, Mercury moves into a conjunction with Jupiter. Mercury governs communication, learning, thinking, and perspective. Jupiter governs growth, opportunity, expansion, and wisdom. When these two energies come together, new insights often emerge. Have you ever had a conversation that completely changed the way you viewed a situation? Maybe someone asked a question you had never considered before. Maybe you received information at exactly the right moment. Or perhaps an idea suddenly connected all the pieces that previously didn't make sense. Mercury conjunct Jupiter reminds us that one insight can change an entire direction. This energy encourages us to stay curious, open-minded, and willing to see new possibilities. Let's explore how this alignment may be inviting you to reflect on the following questions. What opportunity deserves my attention? What conversation do I need to have? What future am I actively building? Where am I thinking too small? What new possibility is trying to enter my life? The overall energy of the week. A new chapter begins. When we look at this week's energies together, a clear message begins to emerge. The new moon invites a new beginning. The sun entering Cancer reminds us to honor our emotions. Jupiter in Cancer encourages us to create stronger emotional foundations. Venus and Pluto reveal important truths. Mercury and Jupiter help us see new possibilities. The common thread running through all of these influences is simple. A new chapter is beginning. But before we can fully move forward, we must become honest about what we truly need, what we truly value, and what we are ready to leave behind. Maybe the answers you're searching for aren't somewhere outside of you. Maybe they're already within you, waiting for your attention. Let's explore how this week's overall energy may be inviting you to reflect on the following questions. What am I ready to begin? What am I ready to release? What truth do I already know? What future am I creating through today's choices? What would my future self encourage me to do right now? I hope you found this weekly astrology update insightful and helpful as you navigate the energies of the week ahead. Remember, astrology isn't here to tell you what will happen. It's here to invite you to reflect, grow, and become more aware of the opportunities and lessons that may be unfolding in your life. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear which message resonated with you the most this week. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I look forward to seeing you again next Sunday at 6 p.m. for another weekly astrology update. Until then, trust your journey, stay open to new possibilities, and take good care of yourself. With love, your Xanthi.